welcome back, and this is Marie Louise, and thank you for being guided here. Today we're going to continue the journey through the 12 levels of consciousness, and if this is the first activation that you've been guided to, please know that this may not be a coincidence, and perhaps for you this is the best activation to start with. As we move through the journey to acceptance, you can always go back and revisit the other activations at another time. And know that when you return to these activations, that you will still be releasing other layers of what has weighted you and limited, creating your highest possible timeline in this lifetime. So this journey is through the 12 levels of consciousness, and each step we hold the intention to bring you closer to acceptance as a baseline frequency in your everyday. We began with shame, the inherent belief of I am wrong, moved to guilt, I did wrong, apathy, where we tackled and faced up to the feelings of depression and nothing matters, and now we meet grief, which is that gentle but most powerful whisper, I have lost. So grief arises in many forms, and sometimes that can come from the death of a loved one. And when this happens, we don't just grieve that person themselves, we're also grieving the versions of ourselves that existed because of them, and the way that they saw us, the part they drew out in us, the memories that we shared, and the roles that we played in each other's lives, sometimes from being a child. So all of this can suddenly feel so heavy, and this is why grief can be so destabilizing. It shakes our entire sense of identity just as much as that sense of loss of connection. Grief also comes with the loss of support, so that the comfort and the care and the companionship and friendships that we've received with another person. And for those who have cared for someone over a long period of time, perhaps they've been sick, their passing can bring a deep void, that space that once filled with tending and loving, it's just left as an emptiness. But grief isn't limited to the death of others. It can also be the loss of those past versions of ourselves, whether that be through jobs, relationships, addictions, or the old expectations just of how life was supposed to be. When in reality, there's no longer a match, and the programs that we've collected throughout our life. And at this point, the ego can be really tested. And this is where the ego death can generally feel most raw, because the old self is falling away while the new self hasn't yet fully merged into and anchored into the everyday. So grief then, it's both an ending and a beginning, and it's essentially love in motion. It's a transformation, and today we will honour what has been lost, whether people, roles, or identities, and clear that weight of grief so that your heart can still hold the memory and the healing and see some light. So as we move to the activation and clearing, I invite you to either sit down, make yourself comfortable, or lie down, spine straight. Take a deep, gentle breath in. If you feel comfortable, place one hand on your heart. And exhale slowly, just allowing the body to soften. And if you can repeat these words either in your mind or out loud, whichever feels most comfortable for you. I direct my high self and the light of spirit to identify and clear all unresolved grief, sorrow, and heartbreak. I ask that this is cleared across all lifetimes, dimensions, and throughout the ancestral lines. You can visualize now that grief, as it settles usually within the chest area and into the lungs, can show as a grey mist. And then with each breath, you see it lifting and dissolving into light. As you watch, becoming clearer and clearer. Again, in your mind or out loud, I release the belief that I must carry grief forever. I release the belief that letting go of grief means letting go of love. I release the belief that my heart must remain closed to stay safe and feel love. As you breathe now into your chest, imagining a golden pink light pouring into your heart, soothing, repairing, just filling that space with love. And in your mind or out loud, I clear all patterns of unresolved grief, those expressed as chronic sadness, attachment to the past, or disconnection from love. These are not who I am. I release them now. As you start to see your heart glowing with a gentle warmth, opening, becoming more steady, and knowing that strength can hold both memory and new beginnings. In your mind or out loud, I anchor the code of transformation through grief. I embody the remembrance that love and light grow through endings and beginnings. My heart is strong enough to grieve, release, and remain open again. Just feel the difference of the memories that are coming through and how you're viewing those memories with your loved one or self. And as we take one more deep breath in, hold and release. Soften the shoulders. Just feel the expansion in your heart. And in your mind or out loud, I honor my grief and I release its weight. My heart is open to love again. And so it is. As you move through the day and move forward in the coming days, remember that grief can arise not only from who or what you've lost, but also from those old versions of yourself. And with an awareness, be able to distinguish between the outer world and the inner world, the identities and the expectations that no longer fit, because this is all part of the transformation. And I know just how raw this can feel, but please, when you check to your heart, know how sacred grief really is. Because the death of the old allows far more light and freedom to move through you. If you feel called to support the process, you can do some journaling and just cry when you need to. If any memories come through, honor those memories and sit in some nature and just let that grief move, because grief is love in motion. And when it moves, it makes space for life to love and to flow again. If this activation has supported you, please like, subscribe and share so that others can release that weight of grief and step into true freedom. And together we can ripple healing into the world. Thank you, much gratitude, much love, Marie Louise.